Hello everybody, it's Verdi here, and today we're going to be benchmarking Wuthering Waves with 8 gigabytes of RAM. I recently benchmarked this with 16 gigabytes of RAM with this exact system, and a lot of you were mentioning to me in that video that you were having performance issues and that you had the same GPU or even better GPUs and better CPUs, but a lot of the complaints were from laptop players, so I'm assuming that a lot of you are running on 8 gigabytes of RAM, so I thought I'd test it here today and see how it performs. I will quickly say that I am running in dual channel, and it is DDR3 RAM running at 1600 megahertz, so it's not exactly the fastest RAM in the world, but these are the only RAM sticks that I have that are 4 gigabytes, allowing us to run in dual channel at 8 gigabytes RAM. And also I'm pairing it up with an Intel Core i7-4790K and a GTX 1650 GDDR6 edition graphics card. I have the latest Nvidia drivers installed too, and the game is running on an SSD, which is very important as well. So with all that out of the way, let's jump on in and see how it performs here. Alright, so here we are in the game. We're playing at medium settings 1080p to ensure that we're not going to be bottlenecked by the GPU. And also the CPU does drop some frames every now and then, but it wasn't that bad for me when I benchmarked it. We've got the FPS cap set to 60, and like I said, we are using medium settings with motion blur turned off, so let's see how it runs here. So a lot of you were telling me that you were getting a lot of stutters in the game and stuff with the very similar GPU and very similar CPUs, if not better CPUs here, and a lot of you are laptop players. And what I've found is when I'm actually in combat with 8 gigs of RAM, I'm actually stuttering a lot. Like, watch this. Let's actually, with one enemy we might not get stutters, but I did just stutter a hell of a lot when I just fought 3 enemies at once. And my FPS does seem like it's a lot worse here than when I was playing with 16 gigs. And I did actually test just before this, a couple of minutes ago, 4 gigabytes of RAM just out of pure curiosity. Doesn't run. Windows uses like 2.5 gigs just to run itself at minimum with 4 gigs of RAM, so it really leaves the game with no RAM left. So yeah, you cannot play this game with 4 gigs of RAM. I was running in single channel mode though with one of these sticks that I'm using right now, but still I thought it was worth a look. It's completely unplayable. Like, it literally took like 10 minutes to load into the game, and then it was just like 0 FPS, quite literally. It's completely unplayable. Yeah, my frames are very unstable here with 8 gigs of RAM, guys, and I know it's not the quickest RAM in the world, but watch when we start using spells. Look at this, 30s. This is way lower FPS than when I benchmarked yesterday at with 16 gigs of RAM. So big stutter there again. Yeah, guys, you need 16 gigs of RAM to play this game. I'm going to say it right now. There's literally, if you're having performance issues with very similar specs, it's because you've got 8 gigs of RAM, guys. It's, let's just use this ult. Yeah, look at my, it's not stuttering now when I'm fighting just one enemy, but my 1%, but my averages rather, are much lower than what they were yesterday. Another stutter there. Yeah. It's 8 gigs of RAM clearly is not enough to play this game, guys. It is saying we're only using 7.4 gigs, but when I did benchmark yesterday, I saw my RAM usage with this exact system go up to like 9 gigs, so it clearly can use more than 8 gigs. Yeah, if you're having performance issues with a laptop or just in general with these specs, you need to get 16 gigs of RAM, guys. It's much harder to do with laptops, and some of them you literally won't be able to upgrade, but if you've got a you know, desktop PC, and you're, oh, big stutter there. But another one. Yeah, it's not great. It definitely ruins the game. Stutters are way more game ruining than like low FPS. If you have like lowish FPS, like 30 to 40 FPS, but you don't get stutters, you can still play. But it doesn't feel good here, guys. I'm getting a lot of stutters. Another one as I'm changing characters. It's not good. Yeah, when I'm changing characters, I'm dropping FPS. When I'm using some spells, I drop FPS. When I use my ultimate, I get a stutter. It's not very good here, guys, with 8 gigs of RAM. Now, if you have newer RAM that's faster, then you might get better performance than this, but judging from the comments that I'm seeing, I'm sure most of you are running a like DDR4 RAM, right? At least, and probably faster than 1600 megahertz, but you're still getting stutters clearly, and I'm getting them here with 8 gigs of RAM. Yeah, 40s, look at that frame time graph. It is a stuttery nightmare, and I can feel it, by the way. It's like, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but my movement is like, you know, like jittering ahead a little bit sometimes. Like, you can, it's just constant. It's not fun. So yeah, it looks like to play this game, you need to get yourself 16 gigs of RAM, guys, or 12 gigs, something funky, right? But yeah, just get 16 gigs for sure. You can see my FPS is dropping again down into the 40s here, which is, this is worse performance than yesterday. Oh, they can put me asleep. Okay, I didn't realize they could do that. Come here, you. But I think that's going to do it for today, guys. I don't think we need to talk about this too much more. If you do want to see a 16GB comparison with the exact same PC, look in the description or look in the top comment, pinned comment. I'll leave that video there for you to check out. And you can see with 16GB of RAM, even DDR3 RAM at 1600 megahertz is way more smooth. The FPS is still sometimes drops to 50, 55, but it's nowhere near as much. Like, look at this. That was a huge stutter coming into this area. It's, yeah, look at that frame time graph. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. What we found here is clearly the game does not like to play at 8 gigs of RAM. You need more. So hopefully this video has helped you guys to understand why you're having such terrible performance. You need more than 8 gigs of RAM clearly to play this game. Upgrade your RAM if you can, or maybe it's time to get a new laptop with more RAM essentially. But yeah, that 1% lows of 9 is just horrific. And even now, just standing here, frame time graph is all over the place. So yeah, I've been Verda. Thanks for checking out the video. Leave a like if you found any use out of this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe leave me a suggestion. If you want to see the 4 gig version of this, do let me know. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is completely unplayable, of course. I was literally getting 0 FPS in the game with 4 gigs of RAM. It was running in single channel, and it is DDR3 1600 megahertz RAM, but still, it was literally 0 FPS once I loaded in. It was completely unplayable, guys. And the Windows was lagging everywhere, and yeah, it took like 10 minutes to load into the game. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for checking out the video. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye for now.